At a concert in London on Friday, Billy Joe Armstrong, the frontman of the rock band Green Day, pronounced that he now wants to renounce his American citizenship in the wake of recent Supreme Court rulings, and told the British audience that he's had enough of our country.
America, I'm renouncing my citizenship. I just have too much stupid in the world to go back to that miserable excuse for a country.
Same to you, Billy Joe. If he decides he's done being an American idiot, more power to him. So, Billy Joe, we want to help you through the process. Here's what you need to do. First, you can obtain a British passport. Now, it's also advised you secure resident status in the UK, which generally requires 5 years of residency. But we're betting that they may make an exception for someone of your status. Next, you'll have to complete a series of forms, including an oath that you're renouncing your citizenship, which you clearly want to do. Then you've got to speak with an officer at a U.S. embassy and convince them that you're leaving of your own free will and not looking to avoid a tax bill. So we will have to make sure you are doing this because you hate the country, not the taxes. And part of that is that you will have to settle your remaining tax bill. And then congrats, you're no longer an American. Now here's the rub. Once you're out of it, it's going to be hard for you to ever get back, which I'd presume is fine with you. Which is why, for all their threats to leave the U.S., celebrities don't typically follow through with it. But here's the real question. Why would Billy Joe Armstrong leave over the abortion ruling in particular, considering that the place he's going has more restrictive abortion laws than the place he's leaving? Yes, abortions in England are legal within the first 24 weeks of a pregnancy, but 2 doctors need to sign off on it, and they must agree that having the baby would pose a greater risk to the mother's physical or mental health than terminating the pregnancy. Now, there's wiggle room there, but women are not guaranteed to be permitted to have the procedure. That's not the case in California, where Billy Joe Armstrong lives. If you want an abortion in California, within 24 weeks after conception, you get it. No second doctor, patients only have to deal with one clinician. Even after Friday's Supreme Court decision, there are fewer hoops to jump through for a woman in California seeking an abortion than one in London. So all of that tells me that maybe Billy Joe Armstrong hasn't thought this through. Shocker. Joining us now is Kathleen Martinez. She's an immigration attorney based in Texas. Kathleen, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. So take us through the process. What does it actually entail to renounce your citizenship, and how long would it take for Billy Joe to officially do it?
It could take years. It's a lot of work. So as you said, you have to pay off remaining tax debts owed to the United States. You have to basically obtain citizenship in the country that you intend. So I think he's stating the UK. You have to do that first. Then you have to go to the local embassy in that country and basically apply for it throughout an in-person interview. So you have to basically renounce it on paper, in writing, and take an oath. It's a lot harder than probably how he makes it seem at that concert.
And it's also, it's hard to get citizenship elsewhere, right? So what happens if he doesn't get his citizenship in England, where he says he's going to be spending a lot more time after he renounces his U.S. citizenship?
Well, he would be what we call as stateless, which there's about I think about 10 million people in the world who are currently stateless, and it's terrible. You don't have the protection of your local government, employment, owning or renting property, being able to get married, health care, etc. So you aren't protected by any government anywhere when you're stateless, so he'd be in a really tough situation.
Here are some examples of various celebrities who have threatened to either leave the country as a result of politics, etc.
I know everyone's always idly threatening this, but I'm 100% moving to Canada.
If any Republican gets nominated, I'm going to move to Canada with my entire family. No, I literally bought my ticket, I swear.
You're not a citizen, you know, of Canada.
It's okay, I'll make it. I'll figure that out.
I did buy a house in another country just in case. So all these people that threaten to leave the country and then don't, I will leave that country.
Yeah, they all sort of talk big, right? Oh, you know, other people threaten, but I'm going to be the one who actually renounces and leaves, and yet none of them actually do it, or I should say very few. Tina Turner did it, but that was for different reasons. Very few actually do it, and that's because it's really hard, and it's even harder, right? Once you renounce your citizenship, it's really hard to get it back.
Yeah, it's actually impossible to get it back. You cannot get it back once you renounce it, with the exception of being a minor or being of basically unsound mind. So if he were to decide to do this, he actually couldn't come back. The only way that he could actually come back is temporarily through a tourist visa, where you basically have to make the case that you're only coming temporarily and that you don't plan on overstaying, which I think in this situation would be nearly impossible as well.
So what do you say to someone like him if he came to you and he said, all right, I've decided I need to do it. I announced at a concert I'm going to renounce my citizenship. What is the first step I have to take? Was the first thing would you tell him is you're nuts and this isn't worth it?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty biased because I have a lot of clients who would easily take his place. I have clients who have been waiting their turn to come to this country from far worse off areas for 10, 20, and 30 years. And he obviously doesn't know a thing about immigration if he thinks it's this easy.
Yeah, and I think that's happening with a lot of celebrities. Just a lot of people threatening to leave the country, et cetera, but they're not actually thinking about what are the ramifications, how do you get beyond a visa, how do you get an opportunity to live somewhere else, et cetera. Well, Kathleen Martinez, we appreciate you helping to explain the process. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.